everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Andrea. It's nice to have you guys here. Today I have a tag video. Also have a cup of coffee. I needed a video for this week. I didn't want it to be just a weekly vlog that went up this week. Whenever I am struggling to find something fast and relatively easy to film, I always go for a tag video. Does any other YouTuber do that? This was one that I saw on Shannon's channel, Pages and Polish. I will link her channel or that video below, and then it was originally done by Tia and All the Books, and I will link that video and her channel down below as well. It's only 7 questions, so I think even I can manage to make this a relatively short video. Fingers crossed. I thought these questions were funny. I thought they were interesting, and as soon as I saw Shannon do it, I knew that I eventually wanted to do it here on my channel. Diving into the questions, we're not going to drag the intro out too long. So the tag is called the Book Snob tag. I'm looking off to the side at my laptop with all the questions on it. So question number 1, Adaptation Snob. Do you always read the book before you see the movie? No, I usually will watch the movie first. And I know that that kind of goes against what a lot of people tend to do, but because, as we all know, the book 95% of the time, and I'm totally making up that statistic, but in my experience, roughly 95% of the time, the book is better than the movie. So I like seeing the movie first so that I can enjoy the movie on its own, and then go back and read the book and enjoy the book. Number 2, format snob. You can only choose one format in which to read books for the rest of your life. Which one do you choose? Physical books, ebooks, or audiobooks? Really? That's legitimately a hard question. I feel like for practicality reasons, I should say ebooks, because then I can read them anywhere and I can have as many as I want, no matter what size of living space I have. Although I could borrow stuff from the library, I guess, and not have to worry about buying books. But I think, yeah, for practicality's sake, I would but the thought of never reading, I think at this point I would just say screw practicality. I would choose hard copy books if I could only pick one format. That will always be my favorite. If that meant that if there was ever a time where I couldn't buy new books, I couldn't store new books in my home, then I would just start going to the library more often. I really do need to go get a library card for my local library. Yeah, I don't think, as much as I'd say probably about 80% of the books I've been reading lately have been on my Kindle, probably almost 90%. So I have been reading a lot of ebooks, but I think at the end of the day, just the thought, it does make me panic a little bit, the thought of one day I will move and I will not be able, especially if I move overseas, I will not be able to keep even half of my books. And what you see behind me isn't even half of my books. So yeah, but I think ultimately I'd say screw practicality. Physical books would be the one I would have to choose. It's easy to not choose audiobooks because I can't remember ever listening to a whole audiobook. Question number 3, ship snob. Would you date or marry a non-reader? My ex actually wasn't really much of a reader, and we were together for 5 years. And it wasn't the lack of him being a reader that caused the breakup. I think for me the more important thing is that they not judge me for being such a reader. Anyone who dates me, marries me, whatever, is going to have to accept that I am a major reader and that I will always need a large amount of space in a home for my books. I could never marry someone who would be like, I love you, but you can only keep 10 books. No. Bye. Number 4, genre snob. You have to ditch one genre, never to be read again for the rest of your life. Which one do you ditch? Horror? I don't read horror. That's an easy decision. There's quite a few genres that I could ditch forever. Number 5, uber genre snob. You can only choose to read from one genre for the rest of your life. Which genre do you choose? I mean, fiction and literature is considered a genre at Barnes & Noble. And there's a lot of books that fall under that category. If we're trying to be like an uber genre snob, I do read quite a few different genres, but I feel like all the ones I read, I don't know, they wouldn't all be classified as romance, but they all have romance in them. So I guess romance? I don't think I could live without romance novels. And I'm not talking about like the Harlequin historical bodice ripper ones, but like contemporary women's fiction. I'd think that like that would be my genre, contemporary women's fiction, although I do love a lot of historical women's fiction as well. Women's fiction? Can we just say women's fiction? I'm gonna say women's fiction. Number 6, community snob. Which genre do you think receives the most snobbery from the bookish community? I honestly don't really participate in the bookish community. I don't follow very many booktubers. The only person I follow that's really into books is Shannon from Pages and Polish. If I'm just looking at like people's reactions to books in general, YA, young adult fiction, tends to catch a lot of flack, which I think is unwarranted, and romance novels also catch a lot of flack, which is unwarranted. There are obviously like stereotypical books within each genre. Like there's some, you know, there are a lot of YA fiction that is a bit ridiculous, and that if I had a teenage child, I probably wouldn't be that thrilled about them reading those books. And like, I won't lie, Twilight would definitely be one of them. I feel like if I had a child who really wanted to read Twilight, we'd have to have some serious conversations about everything that's problematic in those books and why it's problematic. But then I've read some really good YA fiction. I haven't read a lot, but I have read some really good ones. Like on my shelf I can see The Red Queen, which I still need to read the other books in that series, but that first book was really, really good. And then Maureen Johnson is another YA author who I've read. I've read a few books from her. One is a series that's kind of a supernatural genre series that's really good, and then there was another that was kind of contemporary, just teenage fiction, that was really, really good. So I've read some really good young adult fiction, and I haven't even read that much of it, so I feel like YA probably catches a lot of flack because the books that become the most popular and have like film franchises based off of them aren't always the best examples of the genre. And then I feel like romance is the same. There are some excellent books in the romance genre, but when you say you like romance novels, most people think of the kind of drugstore mass market paperbacks by Harlequin or the other similar publishing companies that publish hundreds of books in that genre every year. They are very formulaic and stuff, but even in among those, there are some good authors. And then if we look at just romance in general and chick lit in like more in particular, there are some brilliant authors. Sophie Kinsella is one, Jane Green is another I love, Cecilia Ahern. I feel like YA and romance and chick lit, like just the name chick lit is so dismissive and patronizing, and I hate that name for a genre, and I feel like they both probably get snobbery, not just from everyone in general, but probably from within the book community in particular. If someone is part of the broader online book community, like BookTube or Bookstagram, you can let me know in the comments what you think, but that's just kind of my guess. And then number 7, Snobbery Recipient. Have you ever been snubbed for something that you have been reading, or for reading in general? For reading in general, not snubbed, but I probably was teased a bit. Nothing that I can really remember being that traumatic, but I probably was kind of, there were people who probably like in high school thought I was a bit of a nerd because I loved reading and I was reading so much. Like I was the girl in 11th grade reading a copy of Carl Sagan's Contact. Again, because I'd seen the movie and the movie was really good, so I wanted to read the book, but you know, it's not a normal book for a high schooler to read. And yeah, so I probably have been teased a little bit for reading in general, but thankfully I was raised by two massive readers. So within my family, I've never been teased for being a reader. And snubbed for something in particular? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm sure there are some people who've watched some of my previous book videos, or when I was talking about books in my monthly favorites videos, there's probably some judgment over the fact that I read things like the Vampire Knitting Club series. Because, I mean, when I first heard the series, even I thought, really? And then I read them and I loved them. So I don't know, I can't remember being teased for anything in particular. I was more teased for like the fact that I hadn't read Harry Potter for so long. I think I'm just lucky that the people that I am friends with and engage with on a daily basis do tend to be readers themselves, and so we all just kind of accept that we're not gonna like everything everyone else likes, but we wouldn't tease each other for that. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, the links to Tia's video, Tia and all the books, that channel, and the link to Shannon's video will be in the description box below. If you do videos, I think Tia and I would love if you would do this tag. Keep the tag going. It's always nice when small YouTubers create tags. It's always great to support them and film those tags. So definitely go check out her video and film the tag yourself if you would like. If you don't make videos, I'd love to know your answers to some of the questions. If you could put those in the comments below, that would be great. And yeah, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'd really appreciate that. I will see you all soon in the next video. Thank you very much for watching this one. Bye-bye.